Poole will give the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us bow our heads. Merciful and all-wise and everlasting God, we just want to thank you for another privilege to come together as a town council. We come together as one in our neighborhood, in our county, and wherever we can help to make this a better place to live. With joy when people can come and enjoy their visit, their living here. We ask that you will continue to bless us to continue to grow this town. And as we grow the town, we grow our love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we will follow our agenda as normal. And at this time, we're going to present the Employee Service Award. Okay, we have two new council people this time that they would come forward, Roger Coleman and Hackney High.
It's like a 1-month award.
This is 1 month. Thank you. Just for new employees.
Oh,
New
okay.
employees.
All right, thank you very much.
She wants to get the picture. Get over here.
All right, guys, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. Right here.
Okay, and we have one 30-year pin. And 30 years with the town is worth a lot, I think. So Darlene Carter, are you here? Darlene does a great job, and we're so proud to have her here with us this morning, or this evening. Present you with this award. And under the electric department, we have one new employee, and that's Michael Nichols. Michael, would you come forward, please? He's out in the hallway. He was here a minute ago.
He's shy. There he is.
Here he is. Mike, as a new employee, there's your key. Yes, sir, very much. And under the fire department, we have 4 new employees. The first one is Christopher Radke. He's a full-time fireman. Christopher, welcome to the town.
Thanks, sir.
And the next one is Kim Rinkerson. Kim, welcome to the town.
I like these.
And the next one is Jason Rose, a volunteer fireman.
Oh, I saw
Okay, and Landon Parrish, our junior volunteer fireman.
Oh, look at me.
And still under the fire department is Chief William Bass for 30 years.
Wow.
Says a lot to somebody to say I 30 years. And under the planning department, we have a new employee called Saoirse Scott. For all that you do for the town. Okay, and under the police department, we have one new employee, Joseph Denary. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Yes.
Awesome there. Thank you very much for your service. Okay, we have three more new police officers. Ryan Ellis. And Rislin Edwards. Michael Lawrence. We have a new program in town. It's called the Downtown Ambassadors. I'll let Anne Marie explain a little bit about what they do.
Sure, Mayor, happy to. We're really excited to introduce to you this evening our downtown ambassadors. They work in the downtown area, also in the parks, keeping the parks and the downtown safe for everyone. And they help visitors with information, and they make sure that everybody's enjoying the downtown. They work seasonally and during special events, and we're super proud of them. They're doing a great job, and we're looking forward to kicking off the second year soon.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Well, yeah, I don't know. All right, our first one is Doris Etheridge. Thank you for volunteering to do that. to, 5 years as a police sergeant is John Simpson.
He's working.
He's working. All right, 10 years on the police department is, he's a police sergeant, is Eric Colson. Eric, you get a little bit out of that. Thank you for your service. Thank you. And our next 10-year award goes to Russell Michael. He's a police detective sergeant. Also for your service. And now we move to Public Works Department. Under new employees, it's Kyle Beeman. He's a part-time partner. And the next one is Anthony Jordan, a utility maintenance worker. Next is Matthew Pierce, a landscape maintenance worker. The next one is William Valentine, which is a part-time park attendant. Next one is Derek Skinner, who is also a part-time park attendant. And the next one is Brandon Woodley. He's a high school intern. This is Tammy's son that works for the town. Everybody knows Tammy. And continuing under the Public Works Department, Tash Powell, who's a landscape maintenance supervisor. You got a little dot on the pen. Certainly. And the next one is Aaron Harris. This young lady over here. And 15 years is David Myers. And 20 years, we had Scott Dees, who is not present, I don't believe. I don't see him anywhere. And The next one is Bobby White.
Give me one more. Thank you.
And we have one more award. We have a 20-year plaque for Mayor Stallings. He has been serving on the town council for a total of 20 years. So he couldn't give himself the award, so I said, Mayor, I'll do that. And now we would like everyone who was honored, all of our employees, if you could gather around the front, and then we'll ask the council members to join them, and Kate will take a group photo of all of our honorees this evening.
I know, I'm like, I might have to get in a chair for this one. I do have my wide angle. Do you think I should use it? Alright, let me tell you where my limits are so you know where to stand. This police officer right here is my limit. This gentleman in the red and white plaid shirt is my limit. Okay, Bobby. Into there. Four ladies, step forward.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
No.
You couldn't give him a little back building.
Yeah.
That was so nice, Cameron. So how do I?
When under discussion.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. And at this time, I believe our police chief, he's not listening. Our police chief has a couple of awards that he would like to make.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, Town Manager. Tonight is a special occasion for the Edenton Police Department. Back in 2016, Captain Tim Hickman retired from the Edenton Police Department, and tonight I want to present him with his service firearm. Because of the council and Miss Anne Marie's generosity, we were able to get new firearms, so we wanted to present Tim with the firearm that he carried the majority of the time that he was at the Edenton Police Department. So Captain Hickman, will you please come forward, please? My disclaimer, Tim's not going anywhere because he's still in my evidence state. But we're going to do right by him, and Tim, we want to present you with your firearm that you carry here at the Edenton Police Department over the years. Okay, that's going to hit you. Very much. Very much. Now, the next award ceremony is very near and dear to Edenton because it is very hard to be a public servant. I believe everybody in this room in their life has always served in somewhat capacity, whether it's church, home, volunteering somewhere, everybody here has served. But I can tell you that 16 years ago, Laura Wilkins decided to join the Edenton Police Department to serve the citizens of Edenton, to serve the town of Edenton, and work very hard at the Edenton Police Department. And tonight, we want to award her with her 16 years of service for the town of Edenton and serving the citizens of Edenton. So, Laura, if you don't mind coming up, please. So, when Laura was turning her equipment in, Chief King was asking her for her chevrons and her name tape. And she was looking at me kind of strange, like, why is he want my name tape? Because he's not going to hire nobody last name Wilkins. Lord, as you can see tonight, the reason why I won't ask you for your chevrons and name tape is because I had you a shadow box made in your behalf. Okay.
Thank you.
Got that? We also are going to award you with your firearm that you carry along with your ID card. She will be coming back. She will be going visiting our downtown stores, but I mainly want her to go back out there to the high school, the middle school, mainly the middle school and D.F. Walker to do our lunch with the cop. We need to embrace our kids. We need to bridge the gap, and we need to start with our youth because they are our future. Thank you.
And at this time, I'd like to ask Anne Marie if she will. She's got a couple of special guests that she wants to recognize tonight. So, Anne Marie, it's up to you.
Thank you, Mayor. And Laura, we need you to come back to the presentation area because tonight we're recognizing two special guests, Ms. Debbie Manning, who is the CEO and founder of the National Center for Missing and Endangered. Mrs. Manning is here with Ms. Arlene Murin, who is the mother of Karen Bostick, who went missing in Edenton several years ago. Mrs. Manning is here this evening to recognize Laura for the support she has provided to the center and to the ongoing investigation of the disappearance of Karen. And I also want to point out that Ms. Manning is the mother of Sergeant Rusty Michael, who you all just honored tonight with years of service. And the police department will be hosting a promotional ceremony for Sergeant Michael and the new officers Thursday, so you'll get to formally meet and interact with the officers. But at this time, Ms. Manning, if you would like to take the podium.
I sure would. I've had the pleasure of working with Laura for 4 years now on the Karen Ray Boston missing case. She's very dear to everyone at National Center for Missing and Endangered. So we would like to present this to you, Laura, for your dedication and investigation in the missing person case of Karen Ray Boston. We love you and we will miss you.
Thank you so much.
So it's not very good for you.
I appreciate it.
Here's a basket. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Manning.
Thank you. Okay, and at this time, we have to approve some minutes from a special meeting on November the 25th and our regular meeting of December the 10th and January the 14th. So I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
You've all had a chance to read them. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those approved signify by please saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. And now we will start on our committee reports. And the first is our administrative commission chaired by Councilman Hyde.
Thank you, Mayor Stallings. As to the first action item that's on your agenda, when Councilman Coleman and I were campaigning last fall, one of the concerns that we heard repeatedly was a request that the town and town council be more transparent and provide additional means to communicate with the citizens about what the town was doing. And Councilman Coleman recommended that we consider a quarterly newsletter, and at our meeting it was recommended that council approve a quarterly newsletter that goes out to our citizens, and I'd put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those approved, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
The second action item along those same lines that I was just talking about, the Administrative Council recommends that council adopt a conversation with council member program, and I'd put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
The third action item from our committee is the committee recommends that council approve the second annual Citizens Academy, and I'd put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The fourth action item from our committee is the committee recommends that council authorize staff to begin seeking approval from the Land and Water Conservation Fund to construct a sailing and water sports center on the waterfront. And I'd put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to add to that motion the possibility that we create a citizens group to really investigate this, look at the design, decide, what building we want, exactly where we want it, and try to get that appointed by next, maybe have it on the administrative committee next month. So I'd like to add that on if possible.
What I would recommend that you do, action item 5
We can do
has
it there.
more to
It's
do
either
with that.
one, yeah.
And
one had build and the other one had design, so.
Yeah, so I'll add that to our next
Okay,
motion.
that'd be perfect.
If that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be
with you. But I think it's important, you don't know how long these things are gonna take. I think it's important that we go ahead and start seeking approval
Yeah.
of that. So I would put that, we'll add Councilwoman Dixon's recommendation for an addition to the next action item. So I would recommend now, as I previously stated, that we authorize staff to begin seeking those approvals, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
And just one more, that MRAM will, that just means in that whole area, right? I mean,
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
all right.
And one more item of discussion, and not to add to the motion or anything like that. I look at that motion, I look at the motion that's getting ready to be made, and if all these approvals and permits take as long as I think they're going to take, I would like us to look at some sort of interim plan so that those sports, water sports, don't lose a season. So we need to keep that in mind.
We have a plan, and we're working, Public Works and the Rec Department are gonna work together and make it happen, that there's a
Sounds good.
smooth transition this year. so.
Sounds good.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The last action item that our committee has, it's recommended by our committee to council that they authorize staff to begin seeking permitting requirements pertaining to CAMA setbacks, the town flood ordinance, building codes, and to also seek professional advice regarding appropriate architectural design and siting guidelines, and to also organize a citizens committee to receive input. With that being said, I would put that in the form of a motion also.
I'll second.
Does that cover what you
Yeah,
want?
that's perfect.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I believe that's all you have.
That's correct, Mayor.
Okay. The next is our Finance Committee, and that's chaired by Councilman Dixon.
This should be quick. We have two things on. One is recommended that we approve the budget amendments that we discussed at our last meeting as presented, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And the second thing is recommended that the council approve the Governor's Crime Commission grant agreement for body cameras as presented. And we discussed this at our last meeting. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's it for the Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you, sir. And the next comes under new business, and that's an amendment to the engineering services agreement, upgrades and renovation to the water treatment plants. And Ms. Knighton, I believe you would take that one for us, please.
I'll be happy to, Mayor. Thank you. We have a request. The council is asked to approve an amendment to our engineering services agreement for the upgrades to the water treatment plants. This engineering services agreement would add $4,600 to the existing agreement we have with Stroud Engineering. And these services should have been included in the original agreement, but for some reason, I guess in the rush to try to get everything moving, it was left out. But USDA has to approve any amendments, and they've already informed us that if the council approves the amendment, that they will sign off on it. And this would provide technical advice to the water treatment plant operators and also to Public Works in helping with the startup of the Freemason water treatment plant. We're into the phase of expenditures for this project where we've spent all of the loan money, so we're into the grant funds portion, and it's use it or lose it. You know, if we don't, and I'm not saying that this isn't necessary, but I just want to let you know that it would be funded through the grant, and the funds are available. So we ask that you approve that amendment as presented.
Can we get a motion on that?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those approved, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
And now we have a budget amendment, and Ms. Martin, I'll call on you for that, please.
Okay. Actually, Mayor, we have two amendments for the council to consider. We received the invoice for services rendered the town by the Chowan County Board of Elections for the expenses incurred in conducting the 2019 municipal elections. We budgeted $10,000 for that expense, but the actual increases came in almost $3,000 higher, which is not unusual. The last time we paid for elections 2 years ago, there have been changes. They've had to have more training for the Board of Election members. They had to attend some conferences out of town. And then I think the other increased expense was that the General Assembly allowed for more one-stop voting days and on Saturdays, and so that increased personnel costs. But we've reviewed all of the costs that the county has submitted, and we find everything in order, and we recommend the budget amendment be approved. The finance officer has recommended increasing the amount of revenue that we budget for in our sales tax collection account. We have been really pleased at the amount of sales tax that's being collected. We always try to budget on the conservative side, but the revenue is coming in much higher than we anticipated. So you notice that the last couple of budget amendments in the general fund have been based on additional proceeds being recognized in the sales tax revenue. So we recommend approval of that amendment. And then also you had heard a report from the town attorney. In closed session, he updated you at the last meeting on the litigation, the appeal that a resident took of a decision rendered by the Board of Adjustment to uphold a decision that the Preservation Commission made regarding the fence around Pembroke Hall. That the resident made that appeal, which is his right and is allowed for by statute to Superior Court. And so our attorneys, as you heard, spent close to 80 or 90 hours worth of time preparing for, submitting briefs. Do they argue in Superior Court? And argue in Superior Court. And then I think they were asked to prepare follow-up briefs based on some questions that the judge asked. So we are asking that the council approve a budget amendment of $15,000 to cover legal expenses. We're waiting for the decision any day now. There's a chance that if the judge finds in favor of the property owner, then the town will have to make a decision as to whether or not you want to appeal to Court of Appeals or vice versa. So we'll be back with information for you to make decisions once the judge's opinion is rendered.
Okay. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What's the next step that someone can take the case? Is it Court of Appeals that we can go to after that?
Well, it depends on what the verdict is. If the how do I say it?
If the judge rules in favor of the town, it would be up to the other person to decide whether or not to appeal.
Okay.
If the judge rules against the town, it will be up to us to decide whether to appeal.
Okay.
That ain't happened yet. It's just sitting on a judge's desk.
He's giving it much thought.
Yes, he is giving much thought, yeah.
It's been a couple weeks, hasn't it?
It's been more than that. I mean, it's called under advisement. So he's preparing his judgment, I guess.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. And I believe that covers all the new business, and now it's time for us to discuss items that are considered timely and important. Does anyone up here have anything that they feel a burning desire to discuss with your road pool?
I have a question that I don't know the full details of it. Does this town have bird signs listed, markers when you come into town that this is a bird sanctuary? In other words, no shooting?
At least one on Queen Street, don't we? Coming in. We'll have, I know we've had them in the past, I think we still have at least one, but we'll check and make sure that those signs are posted, because we are,
Bird
a bird
sanctuary.
sanctuary.
The reason I said that is because we need some strict rules for people shooting in town. I heard that there was some shooting out there on Martin Luther King Street, close to the ramp where you get on 17 going south or north. And it don't make sense. But the people out there, some of them want to move because it's too much shooting out there. People shooting all in the houses. And I think a lot of people, if they saw these signs, that would be a warning. And people that get caught, they ought to be punished.
Well, you're exactly right, and we are working as hard as we can, the police department, the police officers, added patrolling, stationary position patrolling. We've been seeking information from residents to give us information so that we can catch these bad guys. Chief has been working really hard with his officers. There you are, Chief. Thank you. We have cameras where we're trying to, we posted on the town's Facebook page some images of vehicles that we know had been involved in the shootings, and we're trying really hard, but we need people's help, we need citizens' help, but, you know, signage, you know, we'll do anything we can, because we want everybody to be safe. We hate it for people to feel unsafe. You know, nobody wants to live that way, and we're doing the best that we can, and we'll keep at it. I promise you. Yep.
So, age-old adage, if you see something, say something. So, if you do see something like that, please let us know.
Mayor Stallings, before you move, I've got another item that I consider timely and important. I've talked with Anne Marie about it. I would like the town to investigate the formation of, for lack of a better word, a millennial group or millennial council, and try to get their ideas of what we can do for the future of Edenton. And I think it would be worthwhile to hear from that demographic about how they see the future of Edenton. So I would just ask that maybe staff, and I always, I've only been here 2 months, but I like volunteering Saoirse for a lot of things, so maybe she can look into it, since she's in tune with that group much better than we are.
Councilman High, I think that's an excellent opportunity. That was one of the things that Roger Brooks brought up in the meetings that we had with him a couple of weeks ago, and I think that's something that's very worthwhile. Matter of fact, I've already had 3 volunteers to come to me and say they would like to be on that committee.
I've had a couple myself.
So, yeah, I think that's a very good thing. We need to, Anne Marie, do we need to take any action on that at this time, or just we get together and appoint a committee?
We can put it on your administrative committee meeting agenda to talk about process. Do you want to open it up for applications for people to apply? I've had several people ask, what's the definition of a millennial? And I think there are several different perspectives on who is a millennial, so I'm sure Saoirse can set us straight on that. But let's have a discussion at your committee meeting.
Was it 81 to something, isn't it?
So
81 to 96 are different.
The cutoff it differs a little bit, but like I am not a millennial, for example. So I would say that I'm Gen Z actually. So I'm right at the Gen X. So I'm not a millennial either, Gen X. So I think that it would be because I think the entire point is to get young folks more involved and to have this be like a young folks committee. So maybe like labeling it something like that instead of specifically millennial or Gen Z or Gen X.
I think that's
Sounds good to me.
I think that's a great idea. Yes, sir.
One other question. I know you've received the honor of being named to the Risk Management Committee for the League of Municipalities. And we've talked about setting up bicycle rental system here that we lost because of the insurance, inability to get appropriate insurance. I don't know if that would fall under something that you could look into to see if there's a way that we might could get insurance to allow bicycle rental business to operate and begin to work on that area.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else they want to bring up? If not, we'll open up for the public. Anybody out there to have anything that you want to talk to us about? If so, just come to the podium, state your name and what you want to talk about. You're looking like you want to say something.
Nobody? Okay, all right, we'll close that session then. All right, and that's all, that completes our agenda for tonight, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. We will be adjourned. Thank you all for coming.